We're doing two things. We're talking about the sudden impact program and the positive effect that it can have on our at-risk drivers, which are young drivers. And we're talking about our annual Labor Day traffic safety campaign called Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over. So those are the two things we're trying to accomplish today. The main goal is to drive down fatalities and serious injury crashes through two components. One's an educational component and one's an enforcement component. The sudden impact program satisfies that educational component. They reach out to young kids at schools, they take them to trauma centers and try to teach them what happens when you make bad decisions concerning drinking and driving and not buckling up.
Why are we here today?
Actually, we are awarding those that have been so active and have dedicated their time to our injury prevention programs, the Sudden Impact Program. So it's a variety of people, anyone who's contributed and has made the education to the teens the most that it could possibly be so that they learn something and it decreases the injuries and fatalities on our roadways.
You know, in the long term, what might be really nice is to have some of these students that have gone through it and maybe get to adulthood and look back in retrospect to say, I'm really glad they had that in high school, because there were a few times that it did make me think, and well, I'm here and I'm living and my friends are alive and I haven't done anything. So that might be the best feedback of all.
The Jefferson Parish District Attorney's Office is really committed to not only prosecuting people when they commit crimes and break the law, but we're really committed to making our community safer. And my boss, Paul Connick, decided that it was really important for us to try to prevent people from coming before us as criminals. And one of the ways that we do is by getting involved in community programs such as Sudden Impact. We're very proud to participate in this program. It's a very good program, and I know that it's saved a lot of lives.
You have to impact the young drivers, especially the high school students right before prom, the kids that think it's cool to drink and have a devil-may-care attitude when it comes to drinking and driving, because after all, they're invincible.
The Louisiana Highway Safety Commission's mission is to come up with strategies to drive down the serious injury and fatal crashes in Louisiana. We're happy to partner with Bridget and the Sudden Impact Program in order to do that. We've been a partner with Bridget for many, many years. She's a great highway safety advocate, and those of you who know her well already know that information. In Louisiana, we've had, just like across the nation, we've had some significant decreases in our fatalities and serious injuries over the last few years. And these declines follow decades of actually very high fatalities across the nation and in Louisiana. To give you an example, just under 1,000 people, about 993, were killed in Louisiana by automobile crashes in 2007. That's about 676 were killed last year. It's a huge decrease, 317 less. Now, these are not just numbers. Those of you who have family members killed or injured in crashes know that that's a huge ripple effect, and sometimes that ripple doesn't stop going out. I've had a family member killed by a drunk driver, and it was many years ago, but it's my sister's daughter. She was a senior at McNeese. They never had alcohol in their house, and she just happened to get into the car with somebody who was drunk, young man, third offense DWI. He was under suspension. Both of them were killed in a rollover. But the impact of those fatalities don't stop, because when I see my sister, this is like 15 years ago, she just began to clean out her room. It's been a process of healing for her. But anyway, those of you who've experienced that know that these numbers are very significant. Now, I don't think that the Highway Safety Commission or Sudden Impact can take credit for this huge decrease in our fatalities, but I know that it's a very important part of a comprehensive effort to drive those fatalities down. It's not just one thing that drives the fatalities down. I believe we have safer cars now, we have better engineering on the roads, and we have to give some credit to the drivers, because that's the biggest impact that we can have on driving fatalities down is to change driver behavior. We don't have enough policemen to go out there and make everybody do everything right. There has to be some peer pressure involved, and we have to get people to buckle up. We have to get people not to drive while they're intoxicated. Those things go a long way, and programs like Sudden Impact is going to have make a huge difference on driver behavior.
you know, we do this because we know that we can make a difference. And so to be, you know, the recipient of an award, it's very nice. We don't do it for that, so it is nice when you do get that. But for us, it's just a matter of making sure that, you know, people are not dying on the roads. You know, I always tell people, if I could come before you and say, you know, we have a way to reduce murders, everybody would pay attention. You know, there's a way to reduce impaired driving fatalities, and this is one of those ways.
I think for Louisiana, and maybe in particular Greater New Orleans area, where maybe socializing and drinking is a big part of the way people are raised, and maybe that we don't have a public transportation system like some other big cities, it's a really, really big chore to figure out a way around that whole way of life that some of us and some families raised us. It's almost like tackling two issues at one time. It's not as easy as if you lived in a big metropolitan area that had public transportation that people don't give it a second thought. We're going to go out, we're going to drink, and we just go home on the subway or we take the bus. It's not always that easy here at all. Even taxis aren't readily a choice for people. So it's really been it's a difficult two hurdles probably to go over about the drinking and then the transportation.
I'm involved because my son at 22 was killed by a drunk driver. I feel that it's very important for people to understand the relationship they have with families, with friends of the people that are on the road with them when they're driving impaired. I also speak with Judge Olivier's DWI class once a month. Paul was a great kid. He was full of life. He wanted to be an artist. He wanted to start his own clothing company. It was going to be the Primo Clothing Company that I wear his shirt for. I do this for the people there, the high school students, the DWI arrests, to visually show what they have as far as the effect that they have on the drivers that are on the road with them at any given time.
It's a shame. You know, most of these accidents are preventable. Even the ones that are under the influence of things, a lot of times it's just a matter of not wearing seatbelts and things like that. This is something that's very simple. It wouldn't take much to fix. It's a waste. There's a lot of people, a lot of lives influenced, affected negatively, unfortunately.
Is there anything you'd like to add about the significance of today or the overall importance of this program?
I think with the number of people in this room, it shows you that it takes every single one of us to do our part to make the injuries and fatalities in motor vehicle crashes decrease. It's not just about what law enforcement can do. It's not just about what the hospital personnel teach at the bedside. It's not about what the judicial system does, but it takes every single one of us pulling all of our resources together to get a good multi-discipline approach and teach these kids from different perspectives. It's working.